Imagine stepping out into your garden in the crisp early morning, inhaling the rich, earthy scent of freshly turned soil, only to find your prized tomato leaves chewed to ribbons or your delicate pepper plants covered in a sticky coat of hidden pests. It is a heartbreaking moment that almost every single household faces, and the immediate instinct for generations has been to run to the nearest store, grab a chemical spray, and hope for the best. But here is a shocking fact that modern chemical companies do not want you to know. Before synthetic pesticides ever existed, traditional growers across the globe managed to protect vast fields and backyard plots entirely through the strategic use of nature itself. You do not need expensive, toxic bottles to keep your sanctuary safe. Instead, you can save thousands of dollars and protect your family's health by tapping into a brilliant, time-tested defense system that utilizes common household plants. These botanical powerhouses release natural defense mechanisms that repel, confuse, and completely dismantle pest populations without ever harming a single leaf of your food crops. If you want to reclaim your growing space and discover the profound, forgotten wisdom of building a self-regulating ecosystem, please take a quick moment to subscribe to our channel and join our global growing family. We would also absolutely love it if you could drop your location in the comments section right below. Whether you are writing from a specific city, a quiet village, a rural district, or a faraway country, this is a warm community moment for all of us, and seeing exactly where you are, cultivating your plants, helps us tailor our advice and understand just how far our shared love for the earth is spreading. Whether you are managing small balcony pots or vast acres of crops, you are a vital part of this green journey, and we are truly glad to have you here with us. Let us dive right into our first incredible household defender, which is the humble marigold, known scientifically as Tagetes patula. You can easily find these seeds or starter plants at any local nursery, or perhaps your neighbor has some dried flower heads from last season sitting in a paper bag in their kitchen drawer. The basic logic behind marigolds is a powerful double-action defense system. Beneath the surface, the rough texture of the roots secretes a specific chemical compound called alpha-terphenyl, which is highly toxic to destructive, microscopic root knot nematodes that love to burrow into the roots of tomatoes and peppers. Above ground, the bright blossoms release potent sulfur-containing volatile oils that completely scramble the sensory systems of whiteflies, thrips, and aphids, making your vegetables practically invisible to them. To prepare this remedy on a small scale for a kitchen garden or a few balcony pots, simply crush 2 cups of fresh marigold leaves and flowers into a bucket, pour over 1 gallon of warm water, and let it steep in the sun for 24 hours until it turns a deep amber color, straining it through an old kitchen cloth before adding a single teaspoon of mild liquid dish soap to help it stick. For large-scale farmers, you can scale this up by soaking 20 pounds of crushed marigold mass in 100 gallons of water inside a large drum for 48 hours. Apply the liquid by thoroughly spraying it onto the upper and lower sides of your plant leaves, using a handheld mister or a large backpack sprayer, or simply pour the mixture directly onto the soil around the base of your crops, where the water can soak deeply into the dry earth. The absolute best time to apply this natural spray is during the cool hours of the early evening to avoid leaf scorch from the sun, repeating the application once every 7 to 10 days, or immediately after a heavy rainfall to ensure continuous protection. But here is where it gets really interesting, because our next protector is a plant you likely already love to use in your cooking: fresh basil, or Ocimum basilicum. You probably have a pot of this sweet, aromatic herb sitting directly on your kitchen windowsill right now, but if you are not growing it right next to your vulnerable crops, you are missing out on a spectacular natural shield. Basil operates on active chemical warfare. Its lush green leaves continuously release volatile compounds like estragol, linalool, and eugenol into the surrounding air, especially when the midday heat intensifies. These compounds act as a severe airborne deterrent for flying pests like the dreaded tomato hornworm moth, while simultaneously attracting beneficial insects like hoverflies whose hungry larvae devour aphids by the hundreds. To create a highly concentrated basil spray at home, take 3 cups of fresh basil leaves from your kitchen, bruise them roughly to rupture the oil glands, and submerge them in 4 cups of boiling water, allowing the mixture to sit covered overnight. For a commercial farming scale, steep 10 pounds of bruised basil in 50 gallons of water for 3 days to create a potent bulk extract. Filter the aromatic liquid through a fine sieve and spray it generously across your vegetable beds, making sure to coat the stems where pests love to hide. For the best results, mist your crops with this mixture twice a week during the early morning hours, just as the dew begins to dry. Ensuring the volatile oils create a protective aromatic cloud around your plants during the hottest part of the day. Your grandmother probably knew this next secret, but somehow it got completely forgotten along the way as modern chemical products took over the market. Lavender, specifically Lavandula angustifolia, has been valued for thousands of years, and you might even have a bottle of its essential oil sitting in your bathroom cabinet, or dried bundles tucked away in your linen closet. The foundational science of lavender relies heavily on 2 primary organic compounds, linalool and linaloyl acetate. These terpenes are highly disruptive to the nervous systems of fleas, moths, and whiteflies, causing them to flee the area immediately. Yet the sweet fragrance acts as a powerful beacon for essential pollinators and parasitic wasps that actively hunt down garden ruins. To make an excellent homemade lavender protective wash, mix 20 drops of pure lavender essential oil from your home cupboard with 2 cups of warm water and a half teaspoon of baking soda to act as an emulsifier. If you are a medium-scale farmer looking for a cost-effective bulk solution, boil 5 pounds of dried lavender stems and flowers in 20 gallons of water for 1 hour. Then let it cool completely. Spritz this solution thoroughly onto the foliage of your crops using a standard garden pump sprayer, or distribute it through your drip irrigation system across a larger field. Apply this remedy once every 2 weeks during the late afternoon as the sun begins to dip below the horizon, creating a soothing, protective barrier that keeps nocturnal pests from invading your fields while leaving your plants looking vibrant and smelling absolutely magnificent. Most people throw this next item away or pull it out of the ground without ever realizing the incredible defensive power it holds. Nasturtiums, or Tropiolum majus, are gorgeous edible flowers that many households grow strictly for a pop of color, but experienced growers know they are the ultimate sacrificial trap crop. The basic logic here is pure behavioral science. Nasturtiums release highly attractive mustard oils that act like an absolute magnet for destructive pests, like cabbage aphids and black bean aphids, drawing them completely away from your primary food sources. Instead of spraying your vegetables, you let the aphids cluster heavily on the nasturtiums, allowing you to easily manage the pest population in one isolated spot. To turn this into an active spray solution for your home garden, gather 2 cups of nasturtium leaves and seed pods, blend them with 3 cups of water in your kitchen blender, and strain out the thick pulp. Farmers can replicate this by crushing 30 pounds of nasturtium biomass in a large maceration tank with 60 gallons of water, letting it ferment for 5 days. Spray this pungent green liquid directly onto your main brassica crops, like kale, cabbage, and broccoli, to give them an unappealing taste to wandering pests, or spray it heavily on the trap crops themselves before disposing of them. Apply this natural solution once a week during the early morning, ensuring your backyard beds and larger fields remain completely free from devastating infestations. Now, stick around because this next plant is one that completely stunned researchers when they ran formal trials on it, confirming what traditional farmers have known for centuries. Lemongrass, or Cymbopogon citratus, is a staple ingredient you can easily find in your kitchen pantry or at a local grocery store, but it is also an extraordinary pest-repelling machine. The secret behind lemongrass is citral, a powerful compound that makes up over 65% of its essential oil content, which fundamentally shatters the sensory and reproductive cycles of spider mites and whiteflies upon contact. To create a brilliant homemade lemongrass remedy, take 4 fresh stalks from your kitchen, smash them thoroughly with a heavy rolling pin to release the milky juices, and simmer them in 1 gallon of water for 20 minutes until your kitchen fills with a strong, clean citrus scent. For a larger farming operation, process 50 pounds of fresh lemongrass through a shredder and soak it in 100 gallons of water for 48 hours to extract the maximum amount of active citral. Pour the cooled, strained liquid into your chosen spraying equipment and apply it thoroughly to the undersides of your plant leaves, where spider mites love to spin their tiny webs. Use this remedy every 5 days during periods of hot, dry weather when mite populations naturally peak, and always apply it during the early morning hours to allow the clean protective barrier to dry naturally under the soft morning sun. You will not believe what most people are throwing away when they encounter our 6th plant, which is often mistakenly classified as a pesky, painful weed. Stinging nettle, known biologically as Urtica dioica, grows wild along old fence lines, riverbeds, and forgotten corners of your property, but peer-reviewed studies show it can reduce aphid populations by up to 80%. The logic behind stinging nettle is absolutely brilliant. It does not simply repel pests, but instead acts as a vital banker plant that serves as a massive sanctuary for beneficial predatory insects like ladybugs and lacewings. To harness this wild power at home, gather a large bundle of wild nettle, using thick gloves, chop it roughly, and pack it tightly into a 5-gallon bucket filled with water, allowing it to ferment in a shady spot for about 2 weeks until it turns into a dark, nutrient-dense liquid. Farmers can execute this on a massive scale by fermenting 200 pounds of nettle in a 1,000-gallon water tank. Dilute this potent brew at a ratio of 1 part nettle liquid to 10 parts clean water, then use it to thoroughly drench the soil around your plants, or spray it directly onto the foliage. This works beautifully as both a pest deterrent and a phenomenal foliar fertilizer that fills your plants with nitrogen and trace minerals, turning their leaves a deep, radiant green. Apply this fermented nettle tea once every 3 weeks during the active growing season, choosing a cloudy day or the late evening so the rich liquid can soak into the dry earth without evaporating too quickly. We are ending on our final plant for a very important reason, as it is a perennial powerhouse that almost everyone has sitting right in their kitchen spice rack. Rosemary, or Rosmarinus officinalis, is an incredibly hardy herb whose pest-repelling compounds are some of the most broadly effective in the entire plant kingdom. Rosemary is loaded with active volatile terpenes like 1,8-cineol, camphor, and alpha-pinene, which act as a severe nervous system disruptor for soft-bodied pests like bean beetles and carrot flies. To make a highly effective rosemary protective spray at home, boil 5 fresh branches of rosemary from your garden, or 4 tablespoons of dried rosemary from your kitchen cabinet in a quart of water for 30 minutes, letting it cool down completely before straining. For large-scale farming applications, steep 25 pounds of dried rosemary in 100 gallons of water for 3 full days. Spray this aromatic solution thoroughly over your crops, ensuring you cover the entire plant from the main stem to the very tips of the leaves. Apply this powerful rosemary remedy once a week during the peak of the summer pest season, ideally during the calm hours of dusk when flying pests are looking for a place to land and lay their eggs. Nature has already beautifully solved the pest problem, and by stepping away from synthetic chemical options, you are embracing a legacy of agricultural wisdom that stretches back for generations. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us today, and if these natural remedies resonated with you, please consider subscribing to the channel as a heartfelt thank you for our work. Do not forget to share your location in the comments below, because whether you are watching from a cozy high-rise apartment balcony or tending to a sprawling agricultural